Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Am I wrong for not backing up for my family after my wife giggled at their news? Original post. I 27 male, have a beautiful wife Amara 26 female. Anyway, onto the situation that happened a week ago. When I was 17, I had a girlfriend who cheated on me for my brother. We were together since kindergarten, even though our relationship was fake in elementary school and middle school. We decided to make it official in high school. But after a year of making it official, my brother tells me that she and him were seeing each other behind my back. I was extremely hurt, especially since my parents knew, but they thought the relationship was still a playful one, even though I told them the news first. After that, I decided to just focus on school and move out of my parents' house, especially since they didn't have the decency to at least be romantically involved in private. Ex still tried to apologize and ask if we could be friends, but I just ignored her. After I graduated, I moved to Texas at age 19 and only contacted my family on holidays. After 2 years of being there, I met Amara at a bakery her mother owned, and we became friends first due to us both having trust issues, but we made it official a year after meeting. The relationship was great. I loved her family and they loved me. The wedding was absolutely wonderful, even when my parents and brother didn't come, though I sent an invitation and called them the day before. And I realized that if my wife were ever in an argument with someone, even if she was wrong, I'd always have her back. Now a week ago, my mother called me to ask if we could talk. She was on speaker since Amara and I were cooking. She knows about what my family has done and how they backed up my brother, so I didn't mind putting the phone on speaker since the only conversations I have with my family is about my brother. Well, my mom goes on to tell me how my brother and ex are getting married, and he wants me to be his best man. It was silent for a bit, and Amara burst out with giggles and I joined in after her. My mom hung up, and I didn't bother calling her back and enjoyed my night with my wife. The next morning, I was bombarded with angry texts from my brother and dad on how I hurt my mother's feeling and made her cry by not telling my wife to not laugh. I don't think I did anything wrong. I technically didn't do anything, but I can somewhat say that it was childish, but it was a spur of the moment. So am I wrong for not backing up my mom? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Wait, why is your mom asking you to be your brother's best man? That's super weird. Why isn't that coming from him? Very clearly not in the wrong. Laughing is about the nicest thing you can do in a situation like this. Although, there was a great post a while back about somebody who accepted being best man and then gave a speech recounting all of the details of the cheating, dropped the mic and left. So that's always an option for you. She was the messenger, he asked her to ask me. Why? I'm not sure, she only said your brother feels bad, but he thinks this is a way to reconcile, so would you like to be the best man? That's what caused my wife to laugh. Have you been zero contact with your brother since he started seeing your ex? I've decided to move past everything and try to keep in contact with him, but he's the one who gave up trying. Not wrong. It is kind of funny how they didn't show up for your wedding, but want you to be there for your brother's. Did they give you an explanation on why they were a no-show? If I had to guess why they want you there, is because people are bound to ask why you aren't at your brother's wedding, and they want to save face. They said my brother felt sick and he didn't want to go, so they just decided to stay with him. So, clearly they are SVP they'd be going, and you knew they had tickets booked and knew what hotel they were staying at, right? Because if not, then nope, they just lied to you. They didn't even leave Michigan. Apparently, he got sick the day before I called them. Not wrong. The only reason I would think an estranged brother who skipped your wedding would want you as his best man, as he marries your childhood ex, is to make sure he rubs your face in it one more time. And your parents didn't come to your wedding either, and your mother decided she could be the messenger. What the heck is wrong with your birth family? Now for the updates. Hi everyone, I'm here to let everyone know what happened the week after the initial situation. After the week of the incident, and many rude texts from my brother and father, I decided to contact my brother and told him how it was unfair of him to not come to my wedding, but then asked me to come to his. Well, some of you were spot on. My brother didn't want to come to my wedding, so my mother made up a lie instead of telling the truth. And he never asked for me to be his best man, nor was I even invited. I called my mother and asked her what the hell was going on, and she told me that she just wanted her sons to get along again. So even if I were to accept the now fake offer, the situation would have gone way worse since I wasn't invited. I've decided for the sake of my wife and I's future I will be limiting contact with my side of the family. I've also mentioned in the comments that my wife is pregnant, so I have that to look forward to instead of a crap show. Amara and I also appreciate the kind words from some of you. Update 2. I think I posted the first update last night or yesterday, I don't remember, but hello again. The situation has now spread from just my wife and I to my wife's side of the family. A friend of my ex found the post, and I guess the news spread like wildfire, and I was now getting texts from my immediate family and my ex and brother's friends. I've ignored it at first, until some really hurtful things was said about my wife regarding her family and pregnancy, which caused my wife to have a panic attack since she couldn't calm down. I don't know if I could say what they said since it was very harsh and racist, but I've now gone from limited texts to ignoring my whole family. I've decided to turn my phone off altogether, but I do appreciate every one of you, but I'm going to take this time to spend it with my wife and her family. We are now focusing on the pregnancy and getting things ready for 9 months of fun and weird cravings. Update 3. Hello. Exactly 21 days ago, I've made a decision that has been the best decision of my life, and I'm just giving a small update. 1. My family is no longer in my life. 2. My wife read the post and comments and she loves all of you, but was upset that I said she giggled. So she wanted me to clear it up and let you all know it was a full cackle. 3. Our little baby is growing and healthy, hoping for a girl. But that's all. Once again, thank you all. We love you. Oh, my favorite show. Spot the favorite child. And then my favorite, 30 minutes of parental rebuttals. So much fun to watch them tie themselves into pretzels trying to deny the obvious. What a piece of trash family. Edit, not the wife is great. A friend of my ex found the post, and I guess the news spread like wildfire, and I was now getting texts from my immediate family and my ex and brother's friends. I have the feeling dear bro and ex are humiliated, the absolute gossip of their town, and I'm honestly living for it. Bet the friend of the ex wasn't friend enough to not share it around lol. What was mom's plan here? Like, okay, she wants her sons to reconcile, but what if OP had said yes and then called his brother all like, hey, so I'm your best man, what weekends work for your bachelor party, while his brother was not even planning to invite him? Given my history with my mother hounding me for around 4 years to be the bigger person with my brother, who cut me out of his life, there is no plan. Parents like that just want the happy family. No other thoughts. My thoughts are if you were decent parents in the first place, you could have a semi-normal family instead of the disaster you are ineptly attempting to fix. My mother is in a timeout right now because I got tired of the situation. Heck, even our sister's husband told mother to cut it out. Yeah, mom's such a moron that she thinks them being in the same room would constitute progress. She'd be surprised when it ended in a fight in full no contact. Some people just don't think ahead, they just make the next move. Next story. Update. Am I wrong for hating that my ex is living with my parents? Original post. At the start of this year, I, 29 female, was stalked and harassed by a woman who believed that I was having an affair with her husband. It was over a month of daily harassment over phone, on social media, and at times even in public. She even threw a stone through my window and vandalized my car in my driveway. She was caught on security camera and charges were brought against her. I had to spend a lot on lawyers to threaten legal suits against both the husband and wife to get her to back off. She was having some sort of a mental breakdown and went into a psych hold. Her meds helped, and she agreed to stop and accepted that I wasn't the involved party. As part of our legal agreement, she made social media posts apologizing and clearing my name, and some financial recompense for damages caused. During all this, my fiancé, 32 male, was of no help at all. We lived together and he wouldn't do anything to support me. When I got accosted in public places, he'd simply leave. When our condo was attacked, he got in his car and left to stay with a friend. He said it was too embarrassing for him to stay around. He didn't seem to realize that I was scared and felt my life was in danger. He knew that I was innocent in this, and yet he didn't stop his friends and family from believing the worst about me and making snide comments at me. I begged him to help me, and he'd act frustrated as if there was nothing he could do here. When the woman harassing me made the apology posts, I forwarded them everywhere explaining how I got caught up in someone else's tragedy and then called my fiancé a coward for his behavior, which was also my way of publicly breaking up with him. My parents were very supportive of me throughout this mess, and they gave me money for the lawyer's retainer fee, but they didn't like my public FU to my ex. They said that it was petty of me and asked me to be nicer and not break up. I did eventually remove his name from my posts, but I was not interested in any relationship with him anymore. After this all went away, I was still pretty traumatized and paranoid. I quit my job and I couldn't stand living with my ex. My best friend lived a few states away, and she invited me to stay with her as a change of scenery. It was the break I needed. I also found a great job there while I was visiting and decided to settle there. I've been living in this town since then. I have booked tickets to visit my family for Christmas, and last night my mother told me that my ex is staying with them as a house guest. My mother said he wasn't doing too well after I left, and my parents let him move in with them. I don't want to see my ex, and I am pretty hurt that my parents are taking care of this man who did not stand by me. Would it be wrong if I tell my parents I am not visiting as long as he's in their home? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not wrong. Almost a guaranteed ploy to try to get you two back together. Also, who just lets their daughter's ex move in? Especially the ex that let his friends and family talk crap and ran away anytime she was being accosted and was practically in physical danger. No thank you, no contact until he's gone, and parents get over it. And that's really it. He didn't flee to get help. He wasn't calling the cops. He just walked away and let people attack her. He was an accomplice. It should be no contact forever, given that they would rather you be in a relationship with someone who let people physically accost you than with any other person. That ain't love. Not wrong. Your ex left you alone in dangerous situations, and your parents let him move in. Geez, I'm sorry. They all suck. OP should cancel the trip and go no contact with all three of them. At least parents had the decency to tell her ahead of time. I can only imagine the crap storm it would have been if she found out when she showed up. Nope. There are lots of posts here on AITA of OPs whose parents stay in touch with exes. The general consensus is you can't control what your parents do, but you can control what you do by not visiting while they're there. It also could be the case that they're trying to get the two of you back together. That would not surprise me. So tell them that you will not be able to come home, wish them a happy holiday, and don't get sucked into any arguments or blame. Stay strong, you're 100% in the right. And now for the update. I didn't go home for Christmas. I called my parents and told them I wasn't coming, and that set off a lot of recrimination and arguing. My mom getting upset at me for my coldness and my dad reprimanding me for breaking mom's heart. Mom is trying to get me back together with ex, and dad goes along with whatever mom wants to do. I asked them why they'd want me to be with someone who didn't protect me, and mom said if the stalker was a man, he'd have protected me. But it was just a woman, a lady from a good home, so there wasn't any real danger. This was news to me because when it was happening, both were worried about my safety, but now they are downplaying it. This is the exact argument X had used, and they are buying into his story. Then mom goes into how this was embarrassing for X and says I wronged him by putting him in this situation. This brought up a long history of mom's disappointment in me. I was never what she wanted me to be. I know she loves me and had thought our differences were the typical mother-daughter conflict that everyone has, but my mom has fears that run deeper than that. She is a slim, svelte, and a pretty woman who is very particular about manners and appearances. I got my build from my dad's side of the family, and I am very curvy with large breasts. My weight and my figure has been a cause for concern for my mom, who'd pressure me to cover up and downplay it. She wanted me to go into teaching or medicine, but I didn't do well enough in school for that, so I ended up forming a career in sales, and I am very good at it. I was making good money at a large corporation, and while I dress modestly, I was no longer wearing baggy clothes, but professional suits with a good fit. The fact that I look like I do and that I do sales was scandalous to my mother. The guy whose affair brought problems in my life is a manager in the same company I used to work for. We worked on the same floor in different departments. I think he let me take the fall, because knowing who he was having the affair with would have put his job in jeopardy and would have been a lot more scandalous. My mother thinks the wife putting the blame on me was inevitable because I have the look. She thinks her fears about my appearance and career had come true in this incident. She is horrified that instead of learning from my mistakes, I now have a job that is client relationship manager even though it is at a financial firm. She feels pressured to force me to come home and get married and leave my career behind. I am so sad about how all this has turned out. My relationship ended, and now I am losing my parents. Meanwhile, that cheating man and his psycho wife are still married and he still has the same job. I am so sorry. Coming from a woman with a similar look to what you are describing, I feel some type of way personally of your mom blaming your body for being harassed and stalked for a year. Do not think of this as losing. Everyone in this story, from your ex-partner to your parents, are revealing themselves to be people who are unable to be there for you when the chips are down. People who wish to brush away discomfort at their failures to act in support when you need it the most. You have gained insight into them. Never forget it. Thank you for saying that. I am having a hard time accepting this about my parents. They supported me through my difficult times, and they think they are still trying to protect me. They don't see that I'd be happier if they just let me be. This was the first time I was all alone on Christmas. My best friend is the only person I really know here, and her family flew out to be with her in-laws. I am trying to tell myself it'll be okay, but I am feeling so lonely and depressed. I'm a big believer that how people act in a crisis reveals their heart, and how they view their actions after a crisis reveals their character. Some people respond to conflict with a flight response. That happens, but it can't be downplayed afterwards or made to be something it's not. If he can't acknowledge that, he can't work on it and can't learn from it. Everyone wants someone that will have their back when needed. In a friend, in a family member, but especially in a life partner. Amen. My mother yelled at me and my husband heard it, and the first thing he says to me is, "Are you okay? Do you want me to talk to her?" He had my back 100%. Didn't matter that she was a woman or my mom, he knew I was upset and that she was wrong, and he wouldn't stand for that. OP's fiance is a piece of turd. Men can talk to women and tell them their behavior is not okay and to back off without being dangerous or intimidating or anything. Sometimes someone else needs to say something to get it through the offender's head that they're in the wrong. In my case, it wasn't worth it. My mother was not listening to me or anyone at all. No point in trying to get her to listen.